words of welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, as you come seeking love, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness, overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself, or eager to engage with others, all who welcome all are welcome here.
Amen.
Our chalice lighting words. May the light of this chalice, designed to overcome darkness, be a reminder that there is joy somewhere, that there is love somewhere. Seek it, be open to finding it, be willing to share it.
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of life.
Good morning. I'm Jessie McEwen. I'm the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here at UUCR, and I haven't seen any of you since last year. You can groan if you'd like, and you're going to hear that joke many times if you see me this week. It's my one and only New Year's joke. This morning, I brought to you something special. Now, what do you think is in this bag? Something special. You can just yell it out. What do you think's in here? Something. There's definitely something in here. Spoons. Stones. I do a lot of things with rocks. I'll throw that out there. What's that? Seeds? Food. It looks like a lunch bag, doesn't it?
Beans.
Would you believe that this is full of treasure?
Yes.
Does it look like a treasure box?
Yes.
Yes, some no. If you saw this on the street, you might kick it in the gutter.
Right.
Pick it up, throw it in the garbage.
Right.
Something like this is a little unassuming. It's not something that we keep around. But let me show you what I have in here. I have riches.
All right.
I have jewels. I have pirate treasure coins. I have all sorts of things. You know what I have in here? I have my best friend. This is my best friend's favorite color, that green. I have this church. This pink one represents this church. All the love that you guys share with me and that I get to share with you. That's one of my riches. Ooh, you know, all these coins right here, that's all the members of my family. I have so many riches, so many things that I get to keep in my bag and keep close to my heart. And does it matter what my bag looks like?
No.
It doesn't. I might move these to a different bag. You know, I have a bag that looks like Minnie Mouse. I might put them in there. That's kind of fun. I might throw them in my rainbow backpack. But I keep all of these things, all of these treasures in my bag and close to my heart. Why do you think I do that? Can anybody guess?
To love them.
To love them. I love my treasures. I keep them close to love them. Why else?
To feel love back.
To feel love back? Is that what you said? Absolutely. All these treasures, when I hold them in my hands and I keep this bag close to my heart, they remind me of how much I really have and what's really, really important to me. Now, some of the treasures in this are my favorite foods. My mom's tuna salad might sound a little crazy, but it's one of my favorite foods. Pizza is absolutely in this. Can't get away from it. I love pizza. The things that I keep and that I hold close are the things that I want to tell you about, the things that I want to share with you eventually. So maybe one day I'll be able to make you my mom's tuna salad. And that would be a fun day, I think. So as we think about the things that we hold, and this time of year we're talking about New Year's resolutions, things we promise to ourselves, promises we make to other people, we have to remember our treasures. And it doesn't matter what bag they're in, those treasures will always be here for me to share with you, and I'd love to hear about some of the treasures that you have after the service. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning. Today's reading is from Daphne Kazriel Alexander. And it's writing on spiritual abundance as a positive response to our current challenges. Sacred like abundance. In a spiritual context, the notion of abundance or plenty is less about material conditions, revolving instead, once basic needs are met, around an appreciation of life and its fullness, joy, and strength of mind, body, and soul. This is the cultivation of respect for the creative energy of the universe. An abundant life is one that leaves negative feelings of lack, dissatisfaction, and emptiness behind. Instead, it is open to light and love that come from a more spiritual domain. It can help to recall the feelings of freedom you experienced when away on vacation, enjoying adventures in undiscovered landscapes, or exchanging stories with local people. As you look ahead to the unexplored landscape ahead of you in life, there's a common thread that binds you to the same abundance that nurtures the environment surrounding us. This well is plentiful and you can tap into it. Yoga's philosophy has much to say on abundance, not in the realm of material things, which old school mystic yogis renounced, but it is focused on what you are rather than what you have. You are rather than what you have. It is elevating the idea of plenty to the spiritual realm and defining each moment in terms of its action rather than its asset. It could be the delight in focusing on each breath, in savoring a moment, in giving back, and in the feeling of the afternoon breeze on your cheek.
In a spiritual context, the notion of abundance or plenty is less about material conditions, revolving instead around an appreciation of life in its fullness, joy, strength of mind, body, and soul. As we take up the offering this morning, I ask that you take note of the light and love that is found in this community of faith. And I ask that you choose to help sustain it. The offering will be graciously received.
We got a battery earlier or something.
It's good to see you.
Here. Pinch the water.
I'm glad you're here. We're glad you are part of this faith community. We look forward to this year, 2022. May it be better than 2021.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for coming. The theme for this month is abundance. And I've had an abundance of difficulty trying to focus on what to do, what to say about abundance. At some point, I began to think about the vastness of it, the bigness of the subject. I realized that there is much to the concept of abundance, that it can be overwhelming to contemplate, to engage. As I thought about it, it seemed that much of what we experience as difficulty is embedded in the notion of not enough. I began to see that much of what we might term difficulty in life is at the opposite end of the continuum of abundance. I'm beginning to suspect that we folks, we human beings, are not very good at dealing with bigness, hugeness, massiveness. I suspect our tendency is to try to make everything simple, easy, straightforward, manageable. But it seems to me, life ain't like that. Life doesn't come to us like that. Life is not designed to be manageable. certainly not by our meager humanness. No matter our intelligence, no matter the amount of money we might have, no matter how beautiful we might be, we're not designed to manage life. Now, such a notion might fall in the category of tough love. But if so, so be it. We're not designed to manage reality. As I tried to get my head around the subject of abundance, I blared, I failed, or I blared, that's the word. Somebody tell me? Thank you, that's the one. For quite some time, just like I flailed to get it out. How does one deal with abundance? It seemed too much for my meager mind and my limited knowledge. How does one get their hands around such a big thing, such a big topic as abundance? I'm not sure it's even possible. But I committed to the effort, and I proceed undaunted. My mind went to the Mammoth Telescope that's just been put up into outer space. Yeah. I read, note I'm not saying I understand. I read that the telescope is intended to see into history. History long before any of us were born or even conceived of. It's traveling at an unfathomable 21,000 miles per hour. 121,000 miles per hour. I can't get my head around it. It's just data. It's been designed to allow us to see what the universe looked like 250 million years ago. Maybe 100 billion years ago, billion with a B. Time after the Big Bang. Designed to see the first stars and galaxies starting to form. And in 6 months or so, if all goes as planned, we here on Earth in the year 2022 may well get to see what has been, what was.
What the heck?
My mind has a hard time conceiving of the distance, the duration, the bigness of such an endeavor to explore that far into the past. I wonder if it's the exact opposite of what the early voyagers must have thought and experienced. And I imagine that the earlier voyagers were looking into the future, not the past. How much love is in the world? Can we imagine the bigness of it? Can we imagine the bigness of the world? This thing, the galaxy, the universe, whatever these things are called. How do we perceive? How do we experience? How do we see and engage the largeness? What I would term the unfathomable. Kind of like love, I think. The bigness of it. The possibility of it. The inability to manage it. How much of this thing that we experience as fear and disequilibrium exists in that same category of bigness? How much hate, how much distrust? Is it all part of the same soup? Bigness, the experience of life itself? How much hope? How much expectation? When and how do we focus our attention on one or the other? Is it possible to hold that much, so much, in our consciousness at any given point in time? Seems to me we tend to be happy or sad, optimistic or pessimistic, lonely or loved, smart or not so bright. Seems our human tendency is to focus on one form of emotion, one form of awareness at a time. And doing so, we misconstrue reality as being single-minded, singularly present, singularly focused. Our tendency is to live in the either or, good or bad, happy or sad, easy or hard. The truth is, there is an abundance of almost everything that exists all the time. The fact that we don't seem able to hold divergent orientations, divergent concepts, divergent experiences in mind all at the same time does not negate the truth of what is. Perhaps our minds are designed to focus on one thing at a time, to contemplate, to analyze one thing at a time. We can contemplate the existence of mountains, nearby mountains, tallest mountains, but we can't contemplate all three at the same time. It tends to be an either or. We can contemplate hating vegetables, cold weather, your next door neighbor. But can we contemplate the concept of hate? What is it? How does it operate? Where does it come from? Does everyone hate something? Can it be stopped, fixed, healed, outgrown? We can contemplate love. We can contemplate love in the same way. We can contemplate the love of our favorite foods, our favorite places. We can contemplate our love for our favorite things to do. Contemplate love for those individuals we hold dear. I'm naming, folks, ways of thinking. I'm naming things that we can and do think about, things we consider, things that we reference. I'm naming ways of considering, assessing, engaging, constructs, perceptions, perspectives. I'm naming ways of engaging life, ways of living life. My intent in naming that which is fully human, normative in everyday life, my intent is, even if done without particular awareness, without particular intent, but with a very real impact on the what's, where, and how of life. I'm talking about the way we experience life, and more accurately, the way we engage life, our orientation to life, which in turn dictates our experience of life. I'm pretty sure we've all experienced curmudgeons, naysayers, those who tend to have a grumpy disposition, those who can and almost always see and name the downside of everything, naming, warning, or planning against some form of destruction, defeat, loss, regret, And likewise, I suspect we all know folks who we could term flighty. Those who seem to live on a cloud, where everything is always shifting, as if being blown around by the current direction of the wind. Those who seem to take very little seriously, or see little value in analyzing, contemplating, thinking deeply, expecting all the while an ending. That's wonderful, just because. Each demonstrates an abundance of a particular perspective, an attachment to a particular way of living, of engaging life, and what life has to offer. Each presents a particular orientation to life. Each engages life from a particular vantage point. Stephen Covey coined the term abundance mentality or abundance mindset in his 1989 bestseller titled The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He defined the term simply as a concept in which a person believes there are enough resources and successes to share with others. He contrasts it with the scarcity mindset, that is to say, destructive and unnecessary competition, which is found on the idea that if someone else wins or is successful in a situation, that means you lose, not considering the possibility of all parties winning, winning in some form or another in a given situation. Since that time, fostering abundance mindset has become widely recognized as a beneficial endeavor. And a beneficial endeavor in personal development, spiritual depth. The prevailing belief is that creating an abundance mindset allows you to, and he lists, live an unlimited, full, and satisfying life, exude happiness despite circumstance, give and receive affections and items of high value with ease, feel plentiful, creative, and inspired, take full advantage of and enjoy new opportunities that come your way, create memorable and meaningful life experiences, feel secure and confident in your life endeavors, and create successful outcomes. That was quoting a woman by the name Nicolette Stinson, as she summarizes his work. Abundance is a concept. It's an orientation as much as it is a way of assessing quantity. Our culture, our capitalistic culture, tends to focus on scarcity, as if there is only so much to go around. We tend to be driven by a focus on if only, which is the opposite of abundance. The world of marketing brings focus to this thing of if only, this notion of if only. It makes us pay attention to what we do not have, but should have, if we're to be happy, if we're to be well, if we're to be safe, worthwhile, even in order to be loved. Ears play on a sense of lack. It pulls us into the world of if only. If only, then life will be better, longer, happier. If only I would be a better person. If only I could live ever after. And at the same time, this cultural and monetary system we have leads us to believe that however much we have, we should have more. That somehow, by dint of having more, makes or demonstrates our goodness, our happiness, our sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. It allows for the notion that we earned happiness and a good life. That what we have is a reflection of goodness in and of itself. Our culture has a way of conflating having with goodness, with deserving, with happiness. And scarcity we equate quite often with undeserving, lacking, unworthiness, even sinfulness. Each is an orientation of the faith. Each is an orientation of faith community asked to be left outside its doors. The faith community asks that we leave outside the ways of those operations that function in our larger society. Such an orientation is built around materialism, financial status, hierarchy, evaluations, not the stuff of the faith community. A community built on faith, religiosity, spirituality exists in a different realm. It values connectedness, not separateness. It values the spiritual realm much more than the material world. It values similarities, not differences or divisions. It values giving more than it values receiving. Feeling more than thinking. It values more, it values values more than rightness or being correct. It values reaching out, not holding away, not closing in. Our everyday thinking, everyday doing, everyday being makes a difference. I ask that you be open to spirit, be open to celebrating relationships built around a shared belief system. And I want you to know there is enough of that which is life-sustaining, life-enhancing. There's enough to share with everyone else and have no one be limited. This is what I think our faith community is focused on, creating and sharing the abundance of what life has to offer. And this is a wonderful place to practice. Amen. Pipelines.
Good morning. I'm Terry Smith, a member of the Caring Committee. As you know, one of the things we do is to record the joys and concerns of our membership and friends as lifelines. If you have something you'd like to share, please call or email the church office by noon on Friday, or you can call or email Sally Garber or another member of the Caring Committee. And you can also write in the Lifelines book. It's on the altar before and after the service, and during the week it stays on the podium in the alcove beside the name tag board. We also offer Pebbles of Life on 2 different locations in our sanctuary. If you'd like to silently share a joy or concern, drop a pebble in the water before or after the service. And now let us enter into a time of reverence together. Nina Hentz is grateful that her stepmom's home was spared from the fires near Boulder. Please hold the other thousands of people who were not so fortunate in your heart. And on a personal note, my husband Louis and I celebrated our 47th wedding anniversary on December 28th. And I would like to share that patience, forgiveness, and affection are the keys to this feat, especially when your spouse also practices them. Reverend Walter and I will now light candles for those who are present and not present. As we do, join please in meditation, prayer, or reflection for all the people and places and events in our lives that move us. May our prayers be heard and our hearts restored.
Join me in a moment of prayer. We gathered today as a community of faith. We gathered with hope and expectations of finding something of value, something that nurtures, something that stirs the heart and the mind. We've gathered knowing that such exists, that such is within reach or hearing, knowing that such resides in this very community. May you be fed. As we gather here in a safe and nurturing place, let us not forget that we are blessed above many. That far too many of our fellow travelers will not share the abundance you may find here. That our fellow travelers may be in need of sustenance, material and spiritual. May we be mindful that abundance is always present. May that knowledge prompt us, call us to share the abundance in our lives with others, knowing the well of abundance never dries up. Amen.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul.
I would add one thing is that the fires swept through the neighborhood on her 90th birthday. Yes. So, announcements. Because the church was closed this week, you did not receive a newsletter, of course, but that is, of course, your number one resource for announcements and what is happening here at UUCR. First one we have is that our January 9th poetry celebration will be rescheduled, canceled for now, rescheduled for a later date when perhaps Omicron has gone away. Yeah. A reminder that the first and third Thursdays from 12:30 to 2:30, the UUCR Women's Group meets. If you need information on that, you could contact Erica, Teresa, me. I can't think of anybody else who's here. Anybody you want, we'll tell you. On January 12th, the Family Promise Group will fulfill our commitment, our first commitment of the year. We are actually the first church on the list this year, to 3 families. So I will be contacting you this week if you have offered to share meals with them. And finally, Judy Nelson will be taking names as head usher.
I'm coming for you.
She has her clipboard ready and she is coming for you.
So being that this is the Sunday after New Year's, I could think of only one song to play at the end of the service. It's just one verse of it, and I'm not gonna sing it, but you'll know.
Know that you are enough. Know that you are infused with abundance. Be willing to share it. Share it generously. Go into your week.
Amen.
Okay, I'll send out an email. Okay.
Hey, Oscar, why don't you hold and Leo
Yeah,
go back?
well, yeah, so I'm gonna get that. Thank you.
Yeah, I got my. Usually neither, like, my regular
Do you like that?
Yeah, not today, I'm not calling him today. But you can just go. You got to
Okay, good, James.